In a moment, your host, Clara Luper.
Come on, Jesus. Come on, Jesus. Oh, Lord. Oh, Lord. I got the whole thing.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. What a great morning this is. Hey, it's such a pleasure, such a thrill to be a part of your life, especially on this Saturday morning, August the 9th. You know what day it is. You know what time it is. Everything good will be happening. I promise you that today's show will be something different. So get that pen ready. Make sure that ballpoint pen is writing. If that ink pen you're using, make sure that it has ink in it. Make sure you got some paper to write on, because we got some different things that we will be telling you about. We'll be adding to your knowledge today because we want you to be prepared. If you're out there in that Dungey area, make sure you drive right during the parade. Blow your horn and wave, because we're extremely proud of what has happened in the Dungey in the Dungey area. We're extremely proud of what has happened with many of the graduates of Dungey High School. I've had to have the opportunity to talk with many of them. Got a special guest in here. He forgot that we're on the radio. He's just on the phone. Well, he will be talking to you shortly. And what we will be doing, we're going to bring up some highlights of some great things. Clay Bright is in town. I'm not going to name all the other Dungeyites that are in town, but we're glad to see you. Mom was extremely glad to see you, is extremely glad to see you. And we're looking forward to hearing from you and to hearing more about what all is going on in your lives. How far you've come and what the impressions were that you got from that Dungey High School area. So sit back. I'm going to deal with this in just a minute because I want you to be prepared for it. Blank sheet of paper, pencil, pen, it's ready. Hey, Portwood Williams and Dr. David Walker, I'm certainly glad that you all came home safely. I think a special prayer has gone out for you, special compliments to those people that are in the healthcare field who have worked with you, who help make you better, help make you be ready to enjoy this, the Clara Luper Show, as we prepare for Freedom Fiesta Week. You want to know all the accurate details, we're going to tell you. Great things will continue to happen. Sit back, don't relax, because this promises to be a tension-filled show. We love it. So have I. The important thing is that even if you're in the parade, you've taken, you got your car cleaned up, you got your sound system maxed up, and I know that Dungey edition, whoa, look out, because I don't know how many people will be there, but great things are happening that way. Hey, let me introduce myself, because I am Calvin Luper. I will be your host for the next 52 minutes, and we have some things that you had best write down, that you better remember. It's not as good as last night, and there's the Dungey All-School Reunion at Blue and Gold Banquet, where Sharon Johnson Owens was the mistress of ceremonies, and Sterling Mitchell prayed, and a special prayer. Now, this is hearsay. I wasn't at the banquet, but everybody is bragging on it. Carrie Taylor, Cornelius Anderson, all part of the program, Samantha Mixon, and Reverend Kenneth Johnson blessed the food, and it was some kind of meal, special kind of meal there. Prime rib. Can you imagine a Dungey night having prime rib there at Exclusive Hotel? But then there was one young lady there, two young ladies there, three young ladies there. I know they were extremely proud, and that's none other than Nancy Davis herself, who was anxiously waiting on Nancy Lynn, her daughter, to finish introducing Nancy Lynn's brother, Calvin Davis, attorney Calvin Davis. But we remember him from the NAACP, we remember him from the Dungey edition, and we know that he was an outstanding speaker. Now, that's hearsay, but I'll talk with Calvin a little later on. I'll talk with Nancy Lynn and Aunt Nancy. They're certainly going to be bragging on their brother and their son, because Calvin is doing a fantastic job as an attorney. He's used his civil rights background. He's used the things that he learned there in the Dungey High School, Dungey Elementary School too, I believe. He's used those things to go to the top because he knows the bottom is too crowded. Now, Donetta Starks, she presented the awards. Mentora Mitchell, she did a fantastic job. Wayne Jones, who's over the scholarship committee, they gave away a lot of scholarships. That roll call was something else. That Dungey fight song, Joyce, let me try it. No, I better not try it. I should wait and let Joyce do it. We'll do that sometime a little later on in the week. But Dunjee. Dunjee. And Reverend Parker, know that he was good because he has to be good because he was a great teacher. He's a great motivator there at the Greater Loving St. James Baptist Church. And we know that his remarks were something that everyone will take home with them and remember. Gloria Anderson, you did good too, I heard. But then we're going to tell you more about that Dunjee Blue and Gold Banquet as we progress through this program. We might even get a chance to get a call from the parade participants and where we can share that information with you. But I know that today, starting in about 50 minutes, it's a Soul Awakening Community Day, and it's there on the Metro Tech Spring Lake campus. And as I was coming out, I had to pass by the campus. They got the tents ready. They have a few hundred kids there. And Lionel West at 10 o'clock will be there. And they're going to open that event with a prayer and a praise and worship service. And that will be exciting. Black women only meeting will be from 10:30 to 12 noon with June Elkins moderating that. But then one of the highlights of that would be the State of the Black Church in 2008. I'd like to hear that. But Reverend W.L. Brown of St. Apostle Church will bring it home and bring it all down to us. I told you, you would need your pen, you would need your paper, because there's some more events that will be happening during the course of the day that will be highlights, especially there when the town hall meeting with our elected officials, City Councilman Skip Kelly, State Representative Mike Shelton, County Commissioner Willa Johnson, State Representative Anastasia Pittman. Now, they're all sitting in the same room. They're all going to be there at the table. They're going to give you what am I saying? They're going to give you you have an opportunity to ask some questions, but they're going to let you know what they've been doing, because during that last election, only less than 3,000 people voted, and we want to make sure that we do better than that upcoming elections. But at 3 o'clock p.m., Soul Awards presentation. I don't have the list of all awardees, but I know one of them will be Mom Clara Luper, and she's looking forward to being there. Great things happen in our city when we work together. That's Soul right. Awakening Community Day. Hey, it's going to be today over there at the Metro Tech. Make sure that you go. Portwood is a little far from your house, so don't try to walk down there. Make sure you get a ride. So sit back, because we got some people here that you've heard them a little bit in the background, but let me formally introduce him. Let him introduce himself, because he's familiar with this Blue Room as I am. He's been here, and then we'll introduce our special guest, and we'll move into that part of the program. Young man, who are you, and why are you here?
Well, Calvin, I just want to thank you for giving us the opportunity. My name is Reverend Vernon Burris. Most of you have heard of me. I've been on the radio station for quite some time. But we're here this morning. First of all, I want to thank Sister Clara Luper, who I admired, who has been a mentor for me, who has been an inspiration for me when I came here in 1990. Clara Luper was on this radio program. But I just want to say that I appreciate you and her for giving us the opportunity to be here this morning to share some important news and some important events and certain important things that we are trying to implement here in Oklahoma City, along with other things that's taking place. My name is Reverend Vernon Burris. I work with the Youth Bill School. It's a school who is working with teenagers between the age of 18 and 28 who have dropped out of high school, and we provide them with GED testing. We give them GEDs, and we also provided them with transportation. And so those of you who would like to be a part of this Youth Bill program, if you have a niece, nephew, or anybody between the age of 18 and 24 who would like to be a part of our program, our enrollment is going to start Monday morning, and we will locate it at 1700 Northeast 4th Street. That's in Oklahoma City Housing Authority building there on 4th Street, 1700 Northeast 4th Street. My phone number is area code 405-202-5674 for those of you who would like to come out. Now, our classes...
What's your cell phone number? Somebody was trying to call you on that as we were starting the show. What's your cell phone number? You want to give that one out?
Yes, okay. It's area code 405-202-5674. 5674.
Okay.
That's my number that you can reach.
I had to throw that in. Go ahead and tell us more about what you're doing with the youth in our city. Is this just in Oklahoma City or where?
Yes, we have two schools. We have one here on 1700 Northeast 4th Street, and we have one at 1700 Northeast 78th Street over in Oak Grove. We have two schools. And those schools is to provide young people with GED. Some people are dropped out. If you have a felony, that doesn't matter. If you're just getting out of jail or whatever, we are there to help you overcome those situations and get you back on the track and be able to help you get an education. And also, we want to talk a little bit about our gang specialists. We have a program what we call We Care Community Outreach, and we have Brother Al Van.
Oh, I wanted to introduce him. Let me take this call right quick, Brother Bird. Boy, I tell you, some ministers, you give them a microphone, and they just go on and on. But I told you that this would be an exciting show. I told you that it would be different because we're going to bring it to you. We're not only going to brag about the Freedom Fiesta. We're not only going to brag about Dungy School or Douglas High School or any of the schools here where our kids have graduated from. But then right now we have a problem that's coming up on this testing thing where for ninth graders going in the high school. And we'll get to that, Brother Burris. But let me
there's a lot of people, a lot of kids dropped out in the ninth grade, Calvin.
Well, you're going to tell us more, but let me take this caller right quick.
Go ahead.
Good morning, caller. How are you doing? Welcome to the Clara Luper Show, where we're live in beautiful living color.
Good morning, Calvin. This is Bruce Fisher.
The Bruce Fisher? Bruce, how are you doing this beautiful morning?
I'm doing fine, but I'm in a wool uniform out doing some Civil War reenactment so we can properly represent the black soldiers that took part in the Civil War at an event that's going to take place on the last week in September at the Battle of Honey Springs. But you know what I'm real excited about?
No, I don't.
That's August the 19th.
August the 19th. I was hoping it would be that day. Well, Bruce, why are you so excited about it? And you know,
I'm so pleased that this year we're bringing a lot of attention to the fact that 50 years ago, on August the 19th, 1958, you and 12 other students and a couple of chaperones and your mom made that decision that you were going to try to do something that had not been done in the history of segregation in this state. That you guys were going to try to break segregation down and by a nonviolent civil disobedient act of sitting at those lunch counters downtown at Cat's Drugstore. And on August the 19th of this year, just a week and a half, a little over a week away from now, at the Oklahoma Historical Society, we're going to help you guys to recognize that program, help you guys recognize that event by a nice program that you and myself and Marilyn and Miss Luper are all putting together for the public.
Okay, and, Bruce. Well, where is the Historical Society located for those people that don't know, that should know?
It's right across the street from the governor's mansion.
Okay, that's
right
easy.
On the corner of 23rd and Lincoln. It's a new building. The address is 2401 North Laird, but it's right across from the governor's mansion. At 9:30, we're going to begin the program. It'll run from 9:30 to 10:30. It'll include a tribute to your mom. We'll be recognizing most of the original 13 will be in attendance. Then we're going to have a nice tribute to your mom by the youth, by a number of the youth, including the Youth Council and other young people. The Langston Choral Group, under the direction of Bonita Franklin, will be singing at the event. We'll have many representatives talking about of the public. They're sharing their good wishes to the family and participants. So we have a wonderful occasion planned.
Man, that sure sounds exciting, along with the other activities of the Freedom Fiesta. But for the Oklahoma Historical Society to salute the sit-in movement, because, 50 years ago, we never thought about that. We were not planning on a news conference. We were just trying to get a hamburger and a Coca-Cola. And it's so simple.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And Calvin, it's appropriate that the State Historical Society, it is appropriate for the State Historical Society to recognize this event as being a milestone in the history of this state. And that was what I wanted to see done. I wanted the state to recognize this event. Not just, we as African Americans recognize the event, but I thought it dictated that the state recognized this as a historical event and a turning point in history of Oklahoma, not just African American history, but in the history of the state. Because you guys did something that even the law couldn't do. You guys did something that the courts couldn't do. You guys, invoked an action that required that they change their customs and their practices, not the laws, because separate but equal was still a matter of law when you did what you did.
Right.
And I thought it most appropriate that the state recognize this event.
Well, Bruce, I know that we're extremely fortunate that you are a part of that Oklahoma Historical Society, not just as a member, but as not an employee, but a motivating factor. And I want to thank you for the hard work that you're putting in on this program. One question I have, though, is the public invited to this news conference at 9:30?
Absolutely, it's open to the public, and we want as many of the public to come to help show that we recognize that this kind of recognition of our history is important.
All right.
Dr. Charles Butler told me one time, he says, they didn't think our history was important, so we didn't think it was important. We didn't think it was important, so they didn't think it was important. So it is extremely important that we have a good show of people to show the state of Oklahoma that we think our history is important. We think that the contributions of Ms. Luper and the NAACP and all of those students, and Calvin, I've heard from many, many, many people that may not have been there that first day when you guys started it,
right,
but they joined you.
Yeah, they did.
And today these are adults, and they're proud of their contribution also to that whole movement. And the other thing is that for people who come to this event, if they haven't been to the museum, then this is a good chance for them to come and see that we've got an exhibit upstairs, a permanent exhibit, not temporary. It's built into the museum, a permanent exhibit, a lunch counter, a representation of the Cat's drugstore lunch counter. It's built into as a part of the permanent exhibit of the museum, and they're invited to come up and take pictures at it. I always get a thrill when people come up taking pictures at that lunch counter.
Oh, man.
And there's a video, and I've seen so many of people like you and many other people that took part in those demonstrations, not just Cats, but all of the demonstrations.
All of them, yeah.
And they can come up and see themselves on that video screen and watch themselves as they took part in those historic marches and sit-ins 50 years ago. So we want the people to come up and to the program and then go look at the exhibit and take pictures and just help celebrate this important accomplishment in Oklahoma history.
50 years later, we can't forget. Bruce, thank you for taking the time out of
You're
your
welcome.
practice. And I know that uniform is hot, but I also know that we black folk did participate in the military back during that time.
In the Civil War, the first black soldiers to fight anywhere in the Civil War were the runaway slaves from the Indian Territory that made their way to Kansas and formed up and came back and fought right here in Oklahoma. They were called the First Kansas Colored Volunteers, and we're going to be recognizing their contribution to American history. It was not the 54th Massachusetts. It was the runaway slaves from Oklahoma and Texas and Arkansas that were the first black soldiers to fight during the Civil War. So, yep, we'll be helping to. You'll hear more about that later. I hope you'll have me back to talk about this.
Oh, definitely. We'll do. But right now, I just want to say thank you for the hard work you've done and the hard work you're doing. All right, and we'll get together with you before the 19th.
I thought I heard you mention Reverend Burns there. Tell him I said hi.
God bless you, brother. You're doing a great work.
Thank you.
Okay. So we'll all see you at the Historical Society, 9:30 a.m. 50 years later, we can't forget. Let me go back to Reverend Burris. You were getting ready to introduce a young man that is working with you.
Yes, sir.
You were talking about Youthville, whatever
yes, sir.
that is.
I just want to say a few things about what I'm learning about working at Youthville. I work with inside the prison. I work with Youthville. The prisons is built upon the attentions of young people who kids do not learn how to read at the age of 3. Between the age of 3, that's how they determine how many penitentiaries they're going to build, because they know that these kids don't know how to read by the age of 3 or 4. It's going to end up into the penitentiary. So that's why we have Youth Build programs. So now I want to talk about Mr. Al Vance. He's represented of gang violence. So I'm gonna let you introduce it.
Okay, thank you, Brother Bird. You did it again, but I am fortunate enough to have a young man here in the Blue Room with us that's going to talk about an issue that's close to all our hearts. And not only, he's not going to say nothing about the Freedom Fiesta yet, but I see him looking at the program. I know he will be a part of it. But you, with the gangs, I mean, are you a gang member? Or what's the story with that, Brother Vance? Is it Al Vance? Welcome to the show.
Right. I grew up in Carson, California, and I've been in L.A. All my life. I've been working with young people ever since I've been a kid. No, I'm not a gang member. I was affiliated with gangs in Los Angeles because where the areas I moved, and my mother moved from different communities. But it's a choice you make. Oh, it's a choice you make involving, with kids and your neighborhood, and you know the good and the bad and the ugly. So, you're not to get involved with those who make bad choices.
Well, I had put down some questions here, and I hope you don't mind, but I'm going to go through them. Why join a gang anyway?
Well,
I mean, what are some of the kids' reasons that they tell you why they join a gang?
Family members. Family members involved in the gangs, mother and father, cousins, aunts, okay, friends, the neighborhood where they live at, drug trade, the family breakdown, education, no skills, limited of economics, the norm of acceptance, listening to and the feeling to have the support of families and community churches and schools.
Brother Van, let me get you to talk directly into that mic there while I get this other question. The advantage of being in a gang is what?
There's no advantage. They think it's an advantage, but it's not. It's to me, some of the kids I have worked with here use it as a front. I mean, they have some other, find out when they acting out in the school or they don't want to learn anything in the classroom because they have the lack of learning. So they use the aggression and behavior to disrupt the classroom because they know that they are lacking the education. And some kids use the gang as the language as a front because they have mental skills and things like that, and some mental health problems. So some kids I worked with was on medication. They had learning disabilities, and they use that gang world language and communication about that.
Do these gang members, to your knowledge, do they have goals in life besides just being a part of the gang? I mean, a lot of the high school kids that I've seen, a lot of the NAACP Youth Council members, they want to be a doctor, they want to be a lawyer. And you heard me talk about Calvin Davis way back when he was with the Youth Council. He wanted to be a lawyer, but he stuck it out. And I don't know if he never was with a gang, but he went ahead and got his law degree, and now he's a practicing attorney. So I mean, do those kids have goals in life?
Well, majority of kids I say in school, they have goals, but they have someone distracting them. They have friends who are not in school. Kids are looking up to the wrong kids. The kids who are dropouts, kids are being kicked out of school. So when they go home into the neighborhoods, they see those kids, and they make them feel like they're lesser. And we have to let our kids know when you get an education, you are preparing for the future. And those kids who make those choices dropping out of school, there's a price for that because when they grow up, they're lacking the education. And then telling one, they're going to end up in prison. And it's sad that you got to go to prison to learn how to read and write and get a skill.
Oh, man. I didn't realize that the prisons, they were programming us or scheduling us or analyzing us from the third grade on.
Yes, exactly right.
Right. But let me say this. When I meet a young man, he's somebody. He's not a gang member to me. Mm-hmm. He's somebody. And the nicknames, our parents giving kids nicknames. We got to stop giving young kids nicknames because when a crime happens in the community and they look for their suspects, they have nicknames. It's a lot of little ISIS, a lot of little young men with different names where you get them really caught up in investigation.
And then there goes the wrong one in trouble too.
Right, because the nicknames.
Well, what do the parents say of these gang members? Are they very influential with your program? Are they very influential with these kids' lives once they are in the gangs? Do they stay with their parents, or do the parents stay with them?
Well,
or do we abandon them?
The gang is their second family.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it could be their first family. It's all they have. You have kids who are mothers incarcerated, fathers incarcerated. Oh, the grandmothers who are raising them, and 10 out of 1 parents don't know their kids in the gang until this violence happens. That's when they find out, or they get arrested. You'd be surprised some of the gang members kids I consider was in gangs were very intelligent, smart people, young people. They wasn't like illiterate. You got athletes tied to gangs. You got stars. You look on television. Look at Ice Cube, Snoop Dogg. When you got rappers who are from the communities and then they have that empowerment, the kids look up to that. And then the rap songs they're up there listening to.
Well, I have several more questions here that, as we schedule our time and get through here, I've asked about the parents, but I really want to know, and you can kind of think about this while we play this little song right here to kind of get a break. Reverend Barrett, you want to say something before I go to the song?
No, go ahead. I have some. Go ahead.
Because I wanted to know if the gangs, do they study together? What you're saying, that's an obvious no. Do you encourage them to go into the military? That's obvious that they can't go because they can't qualify. And then I have another thing here about the Boy Scouts and the role that the fire department played in the Boy Scouts here in Oklahoma City back 50 years ago. And we can't forget that because I guess the gangs, they couldn't get a toehold because the community was involved.
Right.
The
Right.
ministers were involved.
Right.
The
Right.
parents
That-
were involved.
Yeah.
And
yeah,
your
yeah.
neighbors were involved.
That's right.
You know, the
That's
store
right.
owners. I can remember one
Everybody.
time.
Right.
I thought I was being slick. Mom, don't. I hate to remind you. This is put your board of education up.
Right.
But I'm gonna go in the store. I'm gonna get some candy without
Right.
Think I'm walking out. I
But
did walk out.
that's the
without
first
paying for it.
stage. That's the
Yeah.
first stage. That once you go in that store,
Yeah.
that one candy
Yeah. Well.
taken,
Well.
and they can get away. Then it's a start. It's a
the
pattern.
candy didn't make it home, but I did. And the store owner had called the house.
Right.
He knew us that well. He called the house and told Mom what I'd done. And I met the Board of Education again. Those of you out in Dungeon, you know what I'm talking about, the Board of Education. That ended that aspect of my life. So I think it takes, I think that parental and the community
Yes,
involvement
yes. And
goes on that. But let me take this song a
Okay.
little further. We got
Okay.
a few minutes here, and we'll go to it.
Okay.
Sit back. Don't relax. Get your pencil sharp and get that paper ready because we got some more good stuff we're going to share with you. Here we go. Oh, yeah. I love the fact that the NAACP Youth Council has played an instrumental role in many a young person's life. Our advisors, starting with Clara Luper, Nancy Davis, Lady Ruth Hunter, Mrs. Matthews, Mrs. Ford. We have some advisors up there that not only love their kids, but they love all the kids in the neighborhood. But while I'm on that subject, let me introduce you to this beautiful young lady who's anxiously waiting to tell you something that you have to know. Because 50 years later, we can't forget, and we don't want you to forget. Good morning, caller. How are you doing?
Good morning, Calvin, and a happy good morning to the radio listening audience, the most intelligent listening audience
You can
in the
say
world.
that again. You can say that again if you want to.
Calvin, I'm calling because I'm so elated. I was listening to Reverend Burris, and I know that Reverend Burris is going to be in that Clara Luper Day parade.
That's right.
I know he's going
That's
to be at
right.
that Clara Luper dinner.
That's
I
right.
know he's going to be at the Oklahoma Historical Society. If not Reverend Burris, I guess I have to throw the picket line on you.
I will be there.
50 years
Okay.
later.
All right.
Reverend Burris and the radio listening audience, I am so excited because God has allowed us an opportunity to be here 50 years later to testify, not only about your goodness, but you allowed us an opportunity to stay around to tell the story.
That's right.
And somebody said somebody's going to write about me. Somebody's going to talk about me. I guess it would be me myself. So 50 years later, we can't forget the civil rights movement. The Oklahoma City NAACP Youth Council on August the 19th, 1958, declared war on segregation. So we celebrate the Freedom Fiesta. The Freedom Fiesta is a celebration of what young people sat down for, to stand up for. Yes, on August 17th, this Freedom Fiesta celebration will start at Friendship Baptist Church. And it's ironic that it was that we're meeting at Friendship this year because the young man who's a pastor up there, Reverend Wayne Wyatt, not only was a sit-inner, but he was a commando. and his job was to protect young people from being injured by those who were bitter and mean against us, who would spit and kick and talk about us, and some would even try physical violence. But Wayne Wyatt was one of those commandos. So when we kick off this 50th anniversary at the Friendship Baptist Church, 2017 Northeast 20th here in Oklahoma City, the speech that day, the kickoff speech, that sermon will be delivered by none other than a former senator himself. He doesn't have to read about it. He doesn't have to hear about it. He can talk about it because Reverend Sam Craig, the class of 1964, was there during the sit-in movement.
Yeah, he was.
Oh, Captain, I'm getting excited because I feel that train a moving, that freedom train. Yes, on
Moving on.
Monday, August the 18th, Attorney John E. Green's Day. And did I tell you that Doc Williams' Day was Sunday? Doc Williams was a bail bondsman here in Oklahoma City. He was responsible for getting us out of jail.
Thank God.
And then on Monday, August the 18th, Attorney John Green. Attorney John Green worked with the others, Senator Porter, Archibald Hill, and those that were interested in, and after we got arrested, getting us out of jail legally. And on Monday at 11 a.m. at Freedom Center, cakes and hot dogs. Reverend Burns, I know you can eat because I watch you. So bring your friends and bring your kids up to Freedom Center at 2609 Martin Luther King.
All right.
And at 6:30, we're having a reception for John E. Green.
Okay.
And those that were legally involved in the fight for integration.
Amen.
You know,
Yes,
Attorney Green
we can't forget.
Attorney Green didn't quit just after the sit-in. He went on to become an assistant attorney general, didn't he?
General, yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Right. But you know what? But see, you have to understand, Calvin, the doors of opportunity just don't open. Someone had to open those. Johnny Green, like so many of us, are standing on the blood of people that
That's right.
sacrificed and
That's right.
made this possible. On Tuesday, August 19th, that's the day. That's
Yeah.
the Black Businessman's Day.
Bruce
That's
was telling
Cecil
us.
L. Williams, my friend, a friend of Oklahoma City, a friend of Oklahoma, and a friend of America. Yes, Cecil, we don't forget. Although you sleep in yonder's grave, we never can forget you. And then at 9:30, at the Oklahoma Historical Society, what Bruce Fisher just talked to you about, we will celebrate because you're going to see something that you've never seen before. And you educators that say you're interested in our history,
Yeah.
bring your young people.
right.
Because what better history can you learn without seeing history in reality? Yes, if you want to see history in reality, come see the governor of the state of Oklahoma, the mayor of Oklahoma City, the city council, the legislature, all celebrating what happened here in Oklahoma City 50 years ago.
No, and also, there at 11 o'clock, something else is happening at the Freedom Center, right?
Yes, Cam, but I need to tell you some more.
Oh, okay.
I had so much to tell you. Last week, you had me going a mile a minute. My heart was even rushing.
Okay, well,
And
go slow
there
this week.
at the Oklahoma Historical Society, as Bruce Fisher told you, Langston University Ensemble will be there, along with a special tribute to none other than my mother, my friend, the mother of so many, Clara Luper.
Amen.
Then at 11 o'clock, we're going up to Freedom Center to a salad fest. All kind of salads. And we're going to celebrate. And Reverend Burns was there 2 years ago because we didn't have it last year, but he was eating in. I know how he can eat. And we are,
Quit picking
I'm
on Reverend Burns.
challenging,
Okay.
I'm challenging you,
Mhm.
all of you in the radio listening audience. The worst thing that happened in Oklahoma City the other day when we had the election, we're at a 52-year low. So we're having a voters registration, and I'm challenging each one of you, go out and get 25 registered voters. And those of you that are parasites and not members of the NAACP, Don't you tell me you remember the NAACP, because I asked Roosevelt for the list. And I'm going to check your name off the list if you're not there. Pay your $30, get your NAACP membership for yourself. After you get it for yourself, then get it for your kids. The memberships are only $10. How dare you say you want to be free and can't and spend $100 for tennis shoes and won't buy an NAACP membership for $10? Oh, Kevin, don't get me started. Because at 7 o'clock at New Zion Baptist Church on August the 19th, there will be a freedom rally. A freedom rally like you've never seen before. If you missed the freedom rallies in the 50s and the 60s, you come on down, because you're going to see one. You're going to see us singing the old freedom songs. You're going to hear a great speaker, Shelley Marie Luper Wilson. Shelley was on the national board of the NAACP, who's contributed to the survival of Freedom Center, who was a former president of the NAACP Oklahoma City prize-winning NAACP Youth Council.
When Shelley was on the board of directors, she was one of the youngest members in the history of the NAACP.
That's right, at large, and served on the National Youth Work Committee. Who better can talk about freedom than a young lady who's been involved in the cause for freedom all of her life?
Right.
And then on Wednesday, President's Day, Ladia and the other presidents of the Youth Council working up big doings. And Monday night, you will have their entire program.
Marilyn, let me go back to Tuesday, Cecil L. Williams Day, because there's some groups that will be helping us. To be the labor unions that will be there doing the voter registration drive. And then the NAB Vets, which is the National Association of Black Vets, will be a part of the Freedom Rally. So this is really showing community-wide participation.
Since you're going to start that, I can go a little bit further. The Oklahoma Democratic Party, black women in with the Democrats, and it goes on and on. But see, we asked the churches to get 25 registered voters. We asked the churches to get 25 memberships. And my question to this intelligent radio listening audience, what will your church do? Will you be a hypocrite? Or will you be part of the fight for freedom? Right. Now I'll go on.
Okay.
On August the 21st, on Thursday, is Sit-Inners Day. And Calvin, something will happen on that day that hasn't happened before.
Yes, indeed.
At 11 o'clock, we have lunch at Freedom Center. And we thought it was relevant to have a hamburger and a Coke. And Gloria Matthews is the advisor for that day. And we thought that since we sat down for a hamburger and a Coke, we would serve hamburgers and Cokes at Freedom Center from 11 to 2. But at 4 o'clock.
Okay.
At 4 o'clock, we're calling all freedom fighters to come on home to Freedom Center. I want you to tell your story the way nobody else can tell their story but you. Because as I listen to you on the streets of Oklahoma City, you remember things that I never heard of about the civil rights movement. And you can come and tell your story, and it will be recorded by the news media, by the Oklahoma Historical Society. And one of these days, your grandchildren and great-great-great-great-grandchildren will be able to go to the archives of Oklahoma history and see you tell your story about the quest and the fight for freedom.
Well, Marilyn, you, in order to be a part of that, all you had to do was have been a participant in any form or fashion in the sit-ins, right?
Right. And see, Captain, what a lot of people don't understand, if it had not been for the maids in Nichols Hills, I don't know what would have happened to the civil rights movement, because they were able to hear things that we were not able to hear. If it had not been for the people that made the sandwiches and had the ice water for these young people, what would have happened? I want all of you to come on home. The fight for freedom is not based upon one or two people, but it's based upon all of you, all of us, that have stuck out our heads to make this dream come true.
I have in my little notes here that at 6:30, Reverend Stephen Billingsley, who is a former NAACP Youth Council member, now he works in the system as a chaplain, will be speaking there at the Freedom Center also.
Not until after 7 o'clock.
Nothing
happens after 7 o'clock, because this is being taped for the archives of history from 4 to 7.
All right, well, let me change my notes. Okay. Yes.
Also at 7 o'clock on Tuesday, August the 19th, I understand that there's going to be a freedom rally at New Zion Baptist Church.
Right.
At Pastor Tucker's church over there.
Oh, yeah. And you know, Reverend Tucker was in the sit-in.
Yes.
We bringing it on home.
Yes.
If you can't talk that talk, don't walk that talk.
Yes. Pastor Tucker is reminding us that his church is going to be really involved in a lot of activity that's going to take place. I just want to remind the listening audience of that.
Are you going to be there, Reverend?
Yes, ma'am. Yes,
All
ma'am.
right.
Yes, ma'am.
Because we up to Friday.
Okay.
We up to Friday, August the 22nd. August the 22nd is Lady Ruth Hunter, Nancy Davis, and Lillian Oliver. At 7:30 in the morning, they will have a sit-in breakfast, and at a sit-iners breakfast at Freedom Center, and at 7 p.m. they will have the Freedom Fiesta fashion show.
That breakfast sounds a little tough for some of us late sleepers on the 7:30.
Yeah, you might as well get on up.
Might as well.
Hey, you can't be free by sleeping through it, Calvin.
No, you can't.
Okay. But then on Saturday, August the 23rd.
Gotcha.
Oh, on Saturday.
Parade.
Clara Luper's Day.
That's right.
And Clara Luper's Day represents all of us that have ever participated in this movement. Clara Luper, I tell you, tears come to my eyes when I think about her and the sacrifices that she's made. Because you must understand that in 1958, it was not popular to buck the system. People could have gotten promotions if they would have just fired Clara Luper. People that she thought were friends in this community turned their backs on her.
That's right.
When she stayed involved in the civil rights movement. But it's something about my mother.
Yeah.
She has that diehard spirit.
That's right.
She has the love of Christ in her body.
That's right.
So when you kick her down, she gets up.
Get back
You
up.
kick her down, you get up. And that's why we're having the Clara Luper Parade.
That's right.
Because what God has for me, it is for me. And at 10 o'clock at Pitts Park, the parade will start. Marilyn Nero is over the parade. And I want you to bring your church buses, bring your young people, bring your old people, your senior citizens, bring those that can't walk the way they walked during the civil rights movement but participated. Let them ride in that parade because this parade represents all of us. I talked to Grace's Living Center, and I saw some of the people that marched with us that can no longer march.
That's right.
I said, get them in their wheelchairs and let them ride in this parade.
That's right.
Because this parade is about all of us that made the sacrifice that changed the course of American history.
Okay, now we checked with Burley and Nero to be a part of that, but where does the parade going to start from?
It's going to start at Pitts Park, and we'll be up to Freedom Center from this Monday on, and you'll be able to sign up your voters registration, sign up for the parade, get your tickets to the dinners. You'll be able to do it all because nothing can stop us now.
That's
God has been good to us, and you know what's so amazing, Calvin?
No.
Over 50 years, all of the original sit-inners are still living. Hello, world.
Amen.
And I want to tell you that after that parade, we go to Freedom Center. And at at 7 o'clock that evening, we go to the 5th Street Missionary Baptist Church at 801 Northeast 5th. Yes, it's so relevant that we go to 5th Street because 5th Street has been a church that most of the sit-inners came out of. It has been our church because we attended 5th Street Baptist Church. And out of the 13 sit-inners, I am willing to say that over 3/4 of them belong to 5th Street.
Right.
And the theme of it is 50 years later, we can't forget. And the Let Freedom Ring Awards are going to the Honorable Senator E. Melvin Porter, Portwood Williams Sr., Reverend John A. Reed Jr., Willard Moore, Major Carl Holmes, and yes, NAACP Youth Council Advisor Nancy Davis. Oh, Calvin, I'm so excited. Reverend Burns, I'm so excited because I know that it's easy to talk that talk.
Well, Mildred, you have really inspired me, and I'm sure that all of the listeners out there has been inspired, and I'm sure that it's going to be a great turnout. And I think this will be maybe one of the greatest rallies that will ever take place in honor of your mother. and my friend, Sister Clara Luper.
Well, Reverend Burns, the only thing I want to ask you, do you know 25 people that's not registered to vote?
Yes, ma'am.
Well, when you get them registered? And let me have the countdown, because on Tuesday when we go to New Zion, I want each and every church to lay down their NAACP memberships, to lay down their voters' registration. It's a shame that in this community less than 2,000 people voted on election day.
That's right.
We have to motivate,
That's
stimulate.
right.
And
That's
Martin
right.
Luther King said, the key to our survival is the black church.
That's right.
So, preachers, I'm calling on you.
Yes.
Get off of your laurels and anniversaries. Let's get something done.
Talk to us. Talk to us.
Marilyn, that's really hitting the nail on the head.
Yes.
But then, you know, another name that we, that somehow other than the thing we don't have down is Reverend W.E. Parker.
Oh, Calvin, whoop me. Because Reverend Parker is the guest speaker at the banquet.
Yeah.
And I sat with Reverend Parker last night, Mom and I did, at the Dungy reunion. And Reverend Parker looks wonderful. And he will be speaking. And it's important that Reverend Parker speaks, because he's been there for the 50 years that we have been fighting for freedom. Okay. And I know he's going to fire him up, because we're all fired up.
Yes.
Fired up and ready to go.
You did a great job, Mira. Just keep on keeping on.
Oh, got to. As long as God gives me the strength. I get tired, I get worn. But my mama told me I get tired in the fields, but I ain't tired no more.
That's
Okie-dokie. I love you. I look forward to all of you cooperating to make this Freedom Fiesta the best fiesta yet. Because you know what, Calvin?
No.
We never know how long we have.
That's right.
But we know one thing, that if God gives us strength enough to live this day, we need to make this day the best day of our life.
That's right.
You're right.
That's right.
Now, Marilyn, you know, we're looking back to the NAACP Youth Council and the work that happened back then. And then we also fortunate enough to have Brother Barris and Brother Van here, and they're working with gangs. Do you think, what would have happened if we would have been in a gang back then?
Well, I don't know, but my hat goes off to Brother Vance and Reverend Barris, because I want you to bring these young people.
Yes, ma'am.
Tuesday.
Yes.
And all during the week to see what price we had to pay for them to even have an opportunity. See what has happened in our community. We don't tell our own story.
Right.
We don't tell our story because we don't know our history.
Right. The
and
kids
it's
have
a
to know
shame
history.
before
That's
God.
right. That's right, Mary.
The sacrifices that our people have made.
Yes.
And these young people don't know anything about it.
Exactly.
But I can beat that.
That's
I
right.
was talking to a black man and that's in a position that very few blacks are even in, and he had never heard of the sit-in movement. So we got to go back to like the Jews did on Friday. Tell these young people about their history.
We're going to have to make sure black history be a requirement for all kids to coming out of elementary or middle school to have that course. I feel that when a troubled kid and gangs, they don't know their history.
That's right. They don't know their history.
I feel like when you join a gang, you're now with the KKK or you do things that against us. Yeah. So a kid's gonna have to learn kids gotta know their history, because I know how I was lost at one time, but once I learned black history in my high school, I had a different perspective.
Well, Brother Vance, come up to Freedom Center on Monday night. Bring your young people.
I'll bring it with
we talk about black history day in and day out. Because until we find out where we've been, we'll never know where we're going.
What time does that meeting start?
6 o'clock on Monday night. And let me tell you something. Not only make black history mandatory in the schools, we need to teach black history in our church.
That's right. That's right.
Every day should be a Black History Day.
That's right,
because
Marilyn.
our grandmothers and grandfathers who nursed grandmothers who nursed other folks' kids so that we could have a better day.
Exactly.
Let them tell their story, and the people in our churches. Don't wait until Black History Month.
That's right.
Well, we got our youth advisors, Bosie Walker, Leola Ford, Wilma Ray, Charles Smith, LaDelia Jackson, yourself, Marilyn Hildreth, Gloria Matthews, Emma Faye, who is getting, I'm glad she's going to be participating, myself, Portwood Williams, Nancy Davis, Lillian Oliver, even though she rests now, Lady Ruth Hunter, those youth council advisors, and even including Burley and Nero, who we like to tease, are all making this Freedom Fiesta one of the best Freedom Fiestas that we've ever had. Marilyn, I'm cutting down to 2 minutes, and I'm going to have to say not goodbye to you, but I'll see you later, and I'm make sure the Reverend Burris has some registration forms for voters.
And Reverend Burris?
Yes, ma'am.
I want to make sure you have that NAACP membership now. Oklahoma City, you heard me challenging him. Mr. Vance, you same on you.
Marilyn, you always put me on the spot, but that's the way you got to do it to get us motivated.
All right. I love you, Oklahoma City.
I love you too,
and
Marilyn.
look forward to you all participating in the 50th anniversary of the Freedom Fiesta.
Yeah, well, thank you for the outstanding work that you've done to get us up to the Freedom Fiesta start. And I also have to send out a special thanks to the Oklahoma Gazette, the Oklahoma City Herald on their last editions, the Black Chronicle, because they told part of the story. They told the story to get you going. So I'm cutting on out of here. But I have about a couple of minutes, Brother Vance. Let me make arrangements to get you back here. Maybe not next week, but another week, and we can continue with our conversation. Right. But right now, I got to go. I got to go by the Metro Tech and see what's going on over there. I got to go back in the heart of this community and see if I can make a difference by doing something good for somebody. Maybe that's what we all should do. Let's do something good this day for somebody that even
we're here
that
to
we
serve.
don't know.
We're here to serve others.
We're here to serve others. I hadn't thought of it like that, but let's do what we can to make our community, our city, our state a much better place. Thank you, Bruce Fisher, but we'll get back with you later on. Keep listening to this station for some outstanding events that will be happening.
That's
KTLV is the letters, 1220 is the number, but you know that by now. 50 years later, we can't forget.
All right.
See you later. Okay.
God bless you.
And we'd like to thank each and every one of you for tuning in to the Clara Luper Show. Join Sister Clara Luper here each and every Saturday from 9 until 10. And until next Saturday, may God bless you.
And the views and opinions expressed on the preceding program were not necessarily those of AM Radio 1220 KTLV.
Father, I need